Oh, welcome in, welcome in. Happy Easter to everyone out there if you are celebrating today, and I hope you are celebrating spring and renewal, all flowers. I hope you're blooming wherever you're planted today. I hope you're enjoying your day. I hope this finds you well. And welcome in everybody in YouTube land over there in the inner tubes and on Facebook and over here on our Rumble. I appreciate each and every one of you. And we're going to bring in our guest, and then we're going to say hello to each one of you and connect in with your energy. So, what I want you to do is I want you to just shake off all that anxiety of rushing around today. Maybe had a few too many jelly beans, maybe a couple of peeps, that you slid in there in the pantry just when nobody was looking. It's okay. I love a good peep now and then. But if you're coming up on a sugar rush or an anxiety high, we're going to just mellow. We're going to take in the energy and we're going to relax. And tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to connect in with our spirits, our spirit guides, our spirits here that we're connected to in this plane, on our earthly plane, our friends here in the chat, and my friend tonight who is a guest. And I'll tell you a little bit about her. Her energy is so beautiful. And I say that about a lot of my friends. But when I first connected in with Michelle and Steph, their energy was just popped out of the off the screen and just enveloped you with this warmth and this light. And I think a lot of us are bumping into people like-minded. There's a lot of let's say human noise around us as well. But I believe a lot of us are connecting in with other light workers and people that we resonate with, that may be happening for you. It may be coming in your future. Might be just your consciousness might be just opening to that where, we're finding each other. Well, when I found them, it was just a wonderful day, and they had wonderful messages, and everybody in their chat was just having a blast, and everybody was just feeling good. And that's what I wanted for you guys today. So if you're celebrating, whether you're just coming up from dinner with the family or you spend it alone, maybe you were gardening, maybe you were doing something else, meditating, spending time outdoors, hiking, whatever it may be, I'm glad you're here with us tonight because we're going to talk about spirits, spirit messages, what they may have for us in the future. And I can't think of a better person to spend it with than my friend Michelle Brandenburg. Welcome her in. Hello, Lovey. How you doing?
Oh my gosh! Happy Easter to you and to everyone
Happy
tonight.
Easter, baby. Thank you so much for being here. And gosh, so many things we've all been through, as well as I, that and light workers here in the chat that we go through so many um just really stressful things in life. Everybody thinks light workers just bounce around like these little bubbles of light, just bouncing through life. No, honey, we go through some hard times. So glad you're here through your hard time. Everybody, we were all praying for you, and I'm just so glad you're here, sweetheart. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for being here tonight
thank you, thank you, thank you.
and for taking time from your holiday as well. So I hope you got to spend some time in nature and a little bit of spring. How what message would you give for people today in this? It's not the first day of spring, but it really does remind us of the renewal. Here we go. Everything is blooming again, and
Hmm.
that hope and that faith, and it's almost like spirit messages again.
It is.
What do you want? What's on your heart about that?
Well, I would like to say this. So where I am right now, although it's spring, it looks winter. And I have been going out on the bike trails. That's been one of my dreams for years, to do where it's flat. So where I'm living now is extremely flat, and I get to do that. They have beautiful bike trails. However, there's no new growth yet, and so when I went to Kentucky, as you know, a few days ago, and for an emergency with my dad, and it was like as soon as I got into Kentucky, everything was bloomed and beautiful, right? And then when I came back yesterday, I came back and it was like nothing had bloomed yet. And I was really thinking about that. And I thought, you know what? Here's the thing. Although it hasn't bloomed yet, it's getting ready to. Even though I may be yearning for the big, beautiful blooms where I used to live, that place was not good for me. So now I know that I am getting ready to basically be here as the blooming begins. So that's very
Love
significant
that.
for
Love
me
that.
personally.
It's
So
like all of us. It's all of us, though, that you're saying that is connecting with what I've been thinking all along. I mean, it's this awakening, this consciousness, and the raising of um, all different people's abilities are just so many things are resonating. It's like we're one big tuning fork, and everything is just starting to harmonize. We're starting to get those that that harmonics is starting to everybody's kind of resonating together in ways in these waves, and you
yeah,
could see other people in their on their journeys in their wave, and we're just kind of like chugging along, and they're struggling and they're going through. It's so wild. It's so hard to put into words. So I'm so glad you're here today to talk about this. So we're just going to bloom where we're planted, honey,
that's
you
right.
know, but it's also a promise of hope, for the future. It's, those daffodils are under there, through the snow or whatever. And how many times have we ever seen a flower growing in the middle of a crack in a concrete somewhere or in the middle of a street, just this
I,
one little flower blooming? And I can't help but stop and think about that, when I see something like that. I'm like, you go, little flower. You know what I mean? I was
yes.
like, I know the feeling. I know the feeling you have to bloom in this concrete. But, just thank you for being here on this holiday. It's a wonderful time to talk about hope and rebirth and regrowth and raising to a different consciousness. I think everybody is feeling that. Are you feeling that? I know you've had a lot of shifts, and it's so hard when you're moving so much. It's like the world is just shifting you like crazy, like a ping pong ball.
Yes.
But are you still feeling that resonating around you? Do you see the world kind of shifting in that consciousness raising, or where we're getting downloads and people are talking about more spiritual things? What do you think?
Yes, I am seeing major shifts. Even in the readings that I did, this last set that I did, there were just like shifts like crazy. Lots of things with people awakening, all different signs, and I mean, it's just amazing and incredible what I'm seeing energetically with the collective. Um, and also when I went back to Kentucky, this is significant because, um, of course, I wanted to go back, make sure my dad was being cared for and everything right. But there was a part of me that was like, oh, I just got to where I am now. And now I've got to turn right back around and go back.
Mm,
But when I got there, so it's kind of like I felt like in that moment I was taking a step back, but I
right.
wasn't, because once I got there, I no longer saw that abusive man. I saw a little child back at 16 years old, and I was able to laugh with him and more than just forgive. I was able to see him on a spiritual level and see all the lessons that I've learned from him. So, although I didn't, like, my human self did not want to go back, it was a shift that was meant to happen so that I could, because I thought I had released before, but apparently I had to go back one more time to
Wow.
release. And
Yeah. Yeah,
spirit,
I'm totally tracking you. Exactly, because I've seen so many people have to go through this. And Michelle, a lot of times you and I have had to help people trying to deal with this, but from the other side. This is
yes,
what I'm getting when you're speaking to me about this. It's so many times we've had to help people where the parent or the person has passed, and we're trying to connect that to get that kind of, boy, what a gift to have it on this side.
yes,
Wow.
yes,
Wow. And it's almost like you're doing this spiritual the youngins aren't going to understand what I mean here when I say the mambo, but you know how you do You just like, two steps forward and three steps back, kind of thing. That's in our life. We're almost doing that spiritual mambo back and forth, it's like, where's the waltz at? I want to do the waltz or the twist. Where the hell's the twist? You know,
Yeah.
but when you're saying that, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm getting that about how blessed, because so many people have to struggle after the fact, via mediums and psychics, and God bless everybody with gifts that help others, in grief, but
Yes.
and that's normally a lot of the things that hold people back too. You know how you and I talk about the rocks in your pocket, like we've got this big overcoat, and all our grief and our anger and all of our stuff, rocks in the pockets, that hold us back. And
Yes.
what I'm seeing when you say that is like, yeah, you're zigzagging back and forth, and you think you're going backwards, but you're just going back to almost finish something,
Yes.
like close the circle, or stop the circle is what I'm getting to. Oh
Yes.
wow, that's
That's
so powerful.
That's it. Stop the cycles. Stop them, because I fully believe that not only myself, but you and so many others um, are doing that at the time. We are ending cycles, repetitive patterns, and for
So
some,
important.
yes, and for
So
some
so important.
that do believe in past lives, I know for myself and a few others that I have spoken to agree as well, that many of us are stopping patterns and cycles that have
So
came
important.
from many past lives.
So I can't. I'm getting.
Yes.
Forgive us, chat. When we connect with our energy, we cannot help this. And she's speaking, and I'm getting 5 downloads at once, and I'm like, "Okay, which one? Which one? Which one?" Because it's so they're our spirit guards get on fire. I'm sure you guys are all fired up, but so forgive us for this, but this is what the spirits want you to hear. It Does that make sense? You have a better way to describe that? Because she'll throw something out, and they'll go emphasize on that. Say this, tell this thing, because there's somebody in the chat that needs to hear it. There's somebody that's going to listen later that's going to hear it. Look, guys, they want to help us. They want to help us, and a lot of us aren't listening. And that's what I think this whole show is about tonight. What do they see for us in the future? What do they need us to do? What do we need to do for ourselves? What you just said was so important about the bloodlines, the DNA, might as well just say it, curses and things like that, whether they were self inflicted or not. They're there, and we have to deal with it. We've got these familiar ones with the family, right? So
Yes.
now the sins of the father kind of mess.
Mhm.
So true. And so many other levels that this could be. And I believe a lot of us came here at this time, not just for what's going on in the world, because we all feel it in the world. If you're not feeling what's going on in the world, you're numb, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a while. But it's also all these little. It's almost like unfinished business,
Hmm.
but in bloodlines. And some bloodlines, I think, are rising up too. I think that's what that whole damn ancestry and me thing was. I really do. I think that somebody's looking for, girl, we could talk, but certain bloodlines and everything else. You know what I mean? But what you just said is so important. And the big thing is if you're going through this in life, this is what I'm getting. If you're in the chat, if you're listening tonight, you're going through this in life, and you feel like, that, gosh, how do I describe it? Like the old abusive boyfriend, cut it off. End it, end the cycle. If you were abused, don't abuse. Break the cycle. Almost do it with a vengeance, and any other thing that you can put in there that would be gambling or whatever it could be. Break that cycle and go the opposite direction. Go do a 180 away from it, and do your bloodline a favor. I'm sorry, go ahead. But it was so important that I underlined that.
No,
It's
and
just powerful.
I totally agree. And it's something else. Elaborating on what you just said, um, you know, I had to learn the hard way with years, in like 50 some years, of how not to suffer in pain mentally. And I finally figured out a few years ago, instead of allowing that to just keep making me feel like I'm drowning. And when I was drowning, I was thinking, um, I learned to take that that negative energy and transmute that into positive. So what I mean by that is I learned how to find the miracle in everything, because
Oh,
I found that usually we don't look hard enough. I
mhm.
didn't look hard enough. And then when I started finding out through my own experiences that I could, if I kept digging a little deeper, if I kept trying to find, okay, what's the good in this? What is this lesson about? Why am I experiencing these things? And every time I found a miracle, I found that positive meaning to
Right.
that situation. And I'm going to tell you, it's not easy. It's
It's
hard.
it is hard, and it's in the hardest, things that we go through are the
Mhm.
best miracles and the best lessons and the hardest lessons, and usually within those, you can find some pattern of whatever it is you're supposed to be breaking, I mean, I know what I'm dealing with, and the last things I'm dealing with are the hardest ones. The hardest ones to shake. And really nobody can help you do it but your spirit guides. So, that's another reason we're here tonight is to tell people to reach out, explain a little bit about spirits, explain a little bit about spirit guides and what they mean. I think everybody has this, just like with ghosts, they have everything in this like envelope, and it's so big, much bigger than that. It's hard to put all in a box.
Yeah.
Spirit guides don't really color inside the lines. But before we go any further, we have a little bit of a delay. So, like, if we ask a question, or if somebody asks a question in the chat or something along those lines, it'll always be a delay answering back and forth. So, what I wanted to do is I first want to reach out to the chat and say hello to everybody, because we have friends from your channel and my channel together here, and I wanted to just welcome everybody. Thank you to my mods for welcoming in everybody and taking care of if there is any questions about what we're talking about at the time, because we can just go like ricochet rabbit all over the place,
Out.
because we're gonna go where spirits take us, and just like woo, it's like that little piglet reaching out with the little pinwheel outside of the car, just wee. But so if we miss it, don't feel bad if you've got to repeat it a couple times and put it all in caps, because I'm looking through a mic stand. I've got 3 different chats here. I can't see also on the Rumble chat. It has no interaction with the StreamYard, so it's all over the place. So it's not I'm ignoring you. If you give a super chat, to the channel or something like that, mods usually have to tell me, hey, you know, over here, because it doesn't show up on my StreamYard. So forgive me for that. We're working on getting that all together. It's all, spit and tissue paper over here, guys. There's no producers, no nothing. We're just lucky we're on, you know for however long that might last. So welcome in everybody. I see Adventures Unseen in here. Welcome Alexis AA. Do you want to be called double A, or is that a double A or just AA? I don't know. You tell me, sweetie. I kind of like double A. Are you cool with double A? Scott, welcome in. Welcome in, Mary. Good to have you here. I see Chris VP. I love you, darling. How you doing? I see everybody on Rumble as well. We've got Chris and Scott and Henry and a bunch of people over here. Listen, if you are not on a Rumble, get over there to the Rumble. It is free. It is also free speech. So over on Rumble on Tuesday nights, we get to show great paranormal movies. This Tuesday, we are showing just a personal favorite, Lost Boys. So get your faux vampire teeth ready. Get your glasses of grape juice or your red wine, Chianti, whatever it may be. It's none of my business what you're drinking over there. And join us Tuesday night free. We just have a great time in the chat. Tomorrow night, we are continuing Tapestry with trying to unravel the murder mystery of John F. Kennedy. So we're having it's a rough one, but we're having a good time doing it. And welcome in everybody that I missed tonight. I saw Lindsay in here and Vixen Doe and our wonderful friends. Lisa, hi honey, how are you? And Henry. So if you have any questions this far, the first question I'd like to ask the chat is, who is feeling, how do you want to word this, Michelle? Who's feeling that spirit guides are either your consciousness is shifting. Maybe you're getting more signs or noticing more signs. Who here is really seeing like your lights turning on? More so in the past couple of months than even over the past few years. I'd love to know anybody that's feeling a shift in energy. Now, how would you describe that, Michelle? What would be a couple of the signs that you're shifting consciousness? Are you lucid dreaming more, or is it a combination of things? Is it a personal thing, do you think, and everybody's different? What do you think about that?
Well, I feel like it is a personal journey for each of us, and that we will experience. I feel like each of us, multiple different signs. So for some of us, it could be, like physical symptoms. And I want to make a disclaimer. If you are having physical symptoms, make sure to go, to a qualified physician and have those checked out. But you may be feeling some sort of physical symptoms, headaches, nausea. Here's something important with your eyes. You may start feeling like your eyes are twitching or seeing like little black dots, like peripherally from your eyes. That is a sign that you are evolving spiritually higher. You may be seeing what appears, the best way I can explain it is seeing, it's almost like, how the
Good.
heat, when it's really, really hot out and you're looking at blacktop and you can see like clear heat.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. That is another sign that you are elevating higher in frequency and seeing other realms. Also, I feel like you could have like body jitters. It almost feel like if you've had way too much caffeine and you feel your insides kind of like really, really jittery or shaky, but you're not shaking on the outside. That's another symptom. There are so many
So
symptoms.
many. So
Yeah,
many. I know a lot of times, a lot of different stories. You're getting more visits from loved ones in dreams, but it seems to be more animals, you know? And with some people, it's almost like they recognize they recognize the soul of the animal coming to visit them, but not so much the face, but they feel like they know him. And I'm just guessing that that's probably an animal from a past life, because I think they stay the same. It's just the way my theory works, for now until it gets shifted.
yeah.
But I think they're almost trying to introduce us to more of the thinning of the veil, and the shifting of these vibrations and these energies. And there's also more. Here's a little test. Someone's telling me to tell you guys. The other day, I walked right into one of these things. It was just like, it wasn't a panic attack. It wasn't, because I've never really had those. Um, and I wouldn't really describe it like that. It was more like almost like an instant hype, almost like you're hyperventilating and your heart's just palpitating like crazy. So I knew right away. I just gotta just get in a quiet spot, and I really quick grabbed my phone and I put on monk chanting for this vibration. It's an ohm, this just is vibration where your whole body just resonates back to that healing vibe. And the whole time it was almost like something was stopping me from getting there, because I'm trying to just deep in my chest just hit that note, and I couldn't find it, and I had to fight for it. And I finally got it. And when I hit it, it was almost like I described in the beginning, that tuning fork resonating. And as soon as I did, everything stopped and slowed down.
Did you
And
just hear that? Something just fell over. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
just fell over. No telling what'll happen here tonight, guys. So there's the thing. I wanted to get that out just in case anybody is having that. I've given out a lot of little hints of meditation, quick meditation tapes, and clearing and shielding for light worker, little 5-minute tapes. These things are great. It's like taking a spiritual shower. But this was something different. I almost had to retune my guitar was out of tune. And I had to just stop and tune it, because I felt like I was just gonna, you know, explode. It was crazy. I don't know if anybody's feeling anything like that where you just like you have no choice but to stop and pay attention. Is this happening to you as well?
Yes, in a different way, but yes, absolutely. Um, Not so much like stress, but it
Or
was um, how can I explain this? It was like this feeling of, yes, I was very
good,
tired,
Chris.
and
Okay.
I did listen to my body, and I backed away, um, and
Oh,
only doing exactly as spiritually was leading me in that moment. And I feel like that when we begin experiencing some symptoms, that if we push against it, it only makes them worse. It's kind of like spirit saying, okay, you need to listen. You need to
mhm.
listen. It's time to calm down. It's time to relax. It's time to, give what's not yours back to them and only deal with what is yours. Prioritize what has to be done in this moment. And, and if we are serving God, then we know that God comes first. So for me, that's the case. And so in those moments, I do only as spiritually guided. And then the rest of the time, I lay down and rest and just allow that to pass. And I meditate, things like that.
Absolutely. And I think that it was just so wild how I just instinctively knew to go for that sound. And if you think about it, guys, how many different spiritual paths, you have gongs and you have bells and you have, the story of actual bells being able to that the sound of the bells warding off and driving out demons. This whole, I mean, that goes way back. Ring the bells, and it absolutely has substance to it, because if you check out these vibrations and the frequencies that they play on, it's the same. It's just as real as when you put on the news on TV, it puts out a fear frequency every time, every time, and you can feel it. And we've just been subject to it for so long that people like myself and Michelle, we don't even watch regular TV anymore. It's just too, you can't even have it on in the house
Yeah.
because you can feel it throughout the house, you
Can.
know? Yeah,
Can.
and that happened years ago. I mean, for me, I'm guessing it did for you the same.
Yes.
Goes back years. Yeah.
Yes.
See,
Year.
and you're and so if you're feeling the same, you're not crazy.
Right.
It's just something that happened to all of us. We go, hey, yeah, I cut it off a long time ago. I'm literally, pulled the thing because it's too much. And when you could even tell if it was something like on the news or just on a like a show without hearing it, you could feel the frequency. So
Yes.
the same with music and everything else, where you're being bombarded by this stuff 24/7,
That
you know,
is so
and
true.
other people's
Mhm.
energy. It's it's horrid. Some of us at work, it's just absolutely horrid, some of the places we have to walk in and out of, and by the end of the week, no wonder you feel so damn drained.
True.
Think about that, right? So,
Hmm.
I think that that's a couple of good ones to give people to recognize. So, if you're feeling like you're back in this life, in this lifetime, I think we're doing more than one thing. So please don't think I'm just saying you're back to do this and then you're good. You're here for multiple things, trust me. But one of them, I think, a big thing amongst everybody that would be listening to this show tonight is you're cutting the cords of past burdens, curses, and these cycles of we keep coming back to repeat, a lifetime with an abusive mate, or or something along those lines, or you're the whatever it may be, that broken thing, that gambling thing, the addiction, whatever it may be. Break it, do the 180. See if you can get away from it. See if you can recognize it in your life. If you can step back and do that 40,000-foot view and see if you can, wait a minute, why do I keep dating the same guy? Why
Yeah.
do I keep marrying the same guy? Why do I keep, dating the same chick? Why do I keep being drawn to these? It's like a squirrel, just and all these nuts are attracted to you. You know what I mean? A lot of us feel that way. Light workers get that all the time, Michelle. I don't know if you feel the same, but we get the ones that just want to tell us everything.
Yes.
Uh, They don't want to do anything about it. They're not going to change anything about what they're telling you about. It's
Yes.
not, this isn't something that they're coming to you for advice and then they're going to start, taking that advice. They
Right.
just want to complain about it and
Yes.
then continue on with it. You can't allow yourself to be drugged down with that. What would be your advice to a light worker that's getting a lot of that, Michelle?
Well, that is actually something that I have been going through for quite some time, and I just put a stop to it. Like I just started boundaries, and if it's going to be a constant, like you're talking about, I'm trying to help you because,
There's no solution.
and then it's like they just continue to not want to, listen to spirit. And I want to say this too. I am that person. I take people's advice, but I don't act on it until I go to God in the divine. And
Mhm.
I ask, is this
Absolutely.
because to be honest, and it's sad to say, but many times I have experienced, even sometimes with, my dad, different people, I would be steered wrong on purpose.
Mhm.
Okay. So that I couldn't complete something or would hold me back. Okay. From my purpose. Um, but then there's other situations where people are genuine. They're trying to help you, but their guidance may not be for you on your journey. So that's why I always say, I go to spirit and I ask, is this for me? And please show me. And, but, to elaborate more on what you were talking about there, though, I feel like um, it's almost a thing of a distraction in the spirit realms, attempting to distract through people. I feel
Yes.
that well. I feel,
Yes.
you know, yes, we all have free will. Yes, sometimes we don't want to listen. And, when people do give us good advice and we don't go to God and ask, is this for me? And do something about it. But I feel like there's something bigger, much, much bigger, that is working through many people and targeting those who consider themselves light workers, star seeds, chosen. Um,
Absolutely. Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Mhm.
and that's what it is. It's a
Mhm.
distraction. And when I realize that, what, I am being distracted. I love these people, but
Mhm.
I cannot allow them. There was a reason I was sent back to my body,
Mhm.
point blank. And it was
Mhm.
not to stay on the phone. It was not to keep going over. Uh,
Rehashing, and we're not going to do anything about it. It's like
yeah,
going to these pardon my language, but these assholes that say they can cure cancer and they're running, this and that, and they've got 35 years of you collecting money and people tap dancing and everything else, and they can't cure MS and all this. And then you go over here to shamans and herbalists and things like that. People are walking and coming through stuff, and it's somewhere there might be a balance in between those two things. But the point is they can't make any money on a cure, right? So, you know, you're not going to, if they can slow you down, but with all this, let me tell you for 2 hours everything I'm going through, and then let me call you in 3 more days, and we're going to talk about it again, and then we're going to do it 3 more days. We're going to do it, and no, we're not. No, we're
no,
not.
I will.
Because I've got so much time and I've got so much I'm going to allow you to, because it's draining. It
It is.
drains us. It drains us because, listen, we're getting to the point now where you need all the light workers we can get. I've been saying it for years on this show. But what Michelle is saying is so true. I mean, I promise you, I was in the car. I know all the tricks, all the stuff I'm saying right here. I know it is, you know, I know it. And I'm in the car and I'm like, please don't let me lose my shit. I really need you to hold. I really need to get through this day. I'm asking my spirit guides and everything else. I'm like, these are my goals. This is what I'd like to achieve. I'm doing all the things, Michelle. I swear. I'm in the car. I'm singing with the music. I'm taking the turns. Like it's just like da da da. Everything is wonderful, right? Everything's going well. And I'm pulling up. I park. park in the parking spot. And I'm like, okay, we're going to go out this day and we're going to have a good day today. And I'm not going to let anybody make me mad. And I'm like, 8 minutes. I
Yeah.
made it 8 minutes. And I came here and I was dead honest on the show. And I said, look, I made it 8 minutes. And I'm just like, the top of my head is exploding because I walked into this madness of, just these people being who they are. And, it just something to, and I'm like, don't lose it. Don't lose it. And I'm like, I can't believe I haven't even got my coat off, it
Mm-hmm.
just, that's the world we're in right now. And I think we're all in that kind of situation where it's just exactly what you said. Is just all these distractions. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard to weed through which one of these things are lessons. Am I supposed to glean something from this? Am I supposed to, what piece of armor am I earning today? Going through, because it all is. And it's so multi leveled. But in the midst of that, we're losing our absolute military bearing. Let's just put it that way, because we're emotional beings as well. And
Yes.
I heard somebody, I don't know if you know him or not, a brilliant man. I love to hear him talk. I love psychologists when they make sense. These ones that tiptoe around it's like, where the hell are you? I don't understand a word you're saying. I love the ones that talk plain. And Jordan Peterson talks plain sometimes. I love some of the things he says. And he was talking about people who get angry, easy to anger. And he's naming off a lot of these people. I know George Washington is one of them. I cling to George Washington because I figured, he really had it together, and he was able to accomplish things through his, just always about to lose it. But
Yeah.
anyhow, Jordan Peterson said that it's people who care the most or people that have been hurt. These are the people that get angry the fastest because they're just, you're not going to do it. They're jumping right in front of that train. And if you screw them over, forget about it. You're irrelevant. You're gone like you never existed, because you're never
Yeah.
getting another chance to do that again. And he's just rolling off all these reasons to why someone reacts the way they react. Even in PTSD, it's not, you're not reacting in PTSD because uh you've been through a traumatic thing. It's, you were almost hurt or you were hurt. And
Yeah.
that's like a very baseline existence for that emotion. It's very primal, your survival. So it's right there on the surface. And I think it's because people like you and I and people in this chat and people we all know that have been these wonderful light workers walking through their journey, maybe a little further along their journey than us, because we all learn from somebody, usually multiple people,
Mm-hmm.
that walked before us, this wisdom that they've earned. And if we were smart enough to learn something from theirs, hey, that's great. But I think we're all at this point, or at least moving into that point, where we're getting hit like this all the time. I know you have, I know Steph has, I know Lynn has, Lynn Monet. I mean, just everybody I know getting hit. And it is, I think, distraction from the other side. It's spiritual warfare to knock us off. But
Mm-hmm.
how do we glean? There's the thing. There's, if we could get that sweet spot in the middle to where we're like, okay, this is necessary for me to go through this because I'm learning this, but how do I finish it and
Mm-hmm.
move through it, because I cannot keep having this happen in my life. And what you said was very important. If you've got somebody like that, you just have to, you don't have to make a big deal out of it. Just
No. Yeah.
stop. Just
Yes.
stop being available for
Yes.
now. And it's not a punishment. You're not angry. You're not anything else. It's just a kick. It's like being in the ocean. Everybody's in the ocean, and you might swim a little better than the others, or you might be a little less to panic, or whatever it may be. And you go over to try to help somebody who's going to drown if somebody doesn't help them, and
Mm-hmm.
they're beating the hell out of you while you're trying to save them. That's a
Right.
natural instinct. And
Right.
I think people do that on dry land as well, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to deal with all this, from the spiritual attacks to the, I've got to go through this to learn a lesson. There's got to be a happy medium where we can move through that stuff a little faster. Like, okay, I recognize this. Maybe it doesn't have to own my day. And let
Mm-hmm.
me move through that. What are some of your tools to do that,
Well,
to
first,
move through your day?
I have to realize, first of all, um, I used to, don't get me wrong, I adore friendship. However, I also realized that I was sent back for a certain purpose. And that is my number one goal. And as much as I love
Focus.
people, as much as I love talking to
Yep.
people, at the same time, what is hard is I don't have that time that people expect when they have a friend. It's not there. There's nothing I can do to make more time because between, you know, I'm in human body. I have to have time to take care of myself, to go to the gym, to do my daily stuff, my weekly stuff, just like everybody else. But then it's recognizing that, okay, my number one goal, where my mind stays, is what is the next thing that I have to do on this mission, which again is always divinely led. Well, so that starts with me looking at what do I need this week, this month, whatever, right? And setting my own boundaries with myself because I am so, well, I'll say it this way. In the past, I was so bad when I first started setting boundaries because most of
It's
us,
you
most,
got to be harsh, man. You got to be cruel. Sometimes you got to be.
yes,
It's not easy, guys. For light, it's unnatural for light workers to feel this way. But that's what I said 3 episodes ago when I came on here and said, "Don't mistake a light worker for a pansy, baby," because
mm-mm,
we are hardened bitch warriors. You
yes,
don't understand. We don't fight the stuff that we fight and deal with the stuff we fight. We go at it very gently with our friendships. But boy, when you cross that line, it's like, dude,
yeah,
what part of no do you not understand? And
right,
we're hard at it,
right,
and it's and we're not jaded to where we're unfeeling. We just can't allow that much energy to be taken up. It's like because we see it different, Michelle. Like, can we explain it like that a little bit? We see it different because it's not from an arrogant height or anything like that. It's just from we've been there. We know what's going to happen. We've seen the movie. We know that life can fix stupid, but it's going to hurt. And
right,
you're not listening, and we're just going to wait for the hurt part because when you're you're busy dealing with the pain of whatever's going to happen to you, you might listen. It's like, remember when and people hate that when you come back to you and go, remember when I told you
yeah,
that if you did the thing, this was going to happen.
mm-hmm.
And we don't do it to rub your nose in it like, swatting you with a newspaper, rolled up newspaper or
No,
something. We're telling you, like, remember I was right then and I was right the time before. So chances are that the next time you come to me for advice, I might be right. You might want to just try it
yeah,
because they keep running into the same trees. They keep running into the same wall. It's like, dude, you're just not ready yet. You're not at that part of your journey where you're ready, for what to listen to what I have to tell you. So why are you asking me all the time? You're not listening
yeah,
to what I'm saying. You're not there. And you have to let those people swim for themselves or they're going to drown you too.
yes, yes. That is so true. And I had to start with myself. Like, um, you know, what do I need? And like if I do, say, usually like I'll set up like one day a month. I'll do phone calls. Very few, very few. I want to put that out there. Very few. And
They're rough, man.
yeah, yeah, very few. Um, but that's all. That's the best I can do because I have so much going on.
Hmm.
And a lot of people look at me like, well, she's just busy all the time, with things that I want to do. Okay, well, part of that's true because I'm now getting to do things that I've dreamed of for
Hmm.
years.
Nice.
And I am going to prioritize myself
Have to.
because I didn't get to do these things. when
Mhm.
the rest, the rest of, I'm not going to really say the rest of the world, but when a lot of other people have already experienced these things, to them it may be normal, or it may not be a big deal. But for me, coming from the mountains, it's a huge thing to be able to ride a bike trail on flat ground, to see
Mhm.
the rainbow instead of the mountains covering it up or
Mhm.
all the way around the edges. I could literally see the rainbows, just like when I was in Florida. These things are important to me. It may
Mhm.
not be important to everyone else, but I have to, when I'm setting boundaries, I have to look at, you know, my time, my alone time, what things do, because I have to have fun. We have to have fun.
Yeah. You can't lose your laughter. You cannot lose your laughter. You have to laugh. You have to find that thing that keeps you going. Like I keep struggling to do so many things with the podcast, and I'll say these are the things I want to do, but I don't quite have it the way I want yet. So I'm not going to launch it until I'm ready. I'm not going to do it and have it be, half baked or whatever the thing may be. Or, you know, I wanted to finish a book, but I started to, and everything is telling me it's not the time. It's not time. I need you over here on this. And I'm like, what do you mean over here on this? This is what I mean for tonight's message, is messages from spirit. This is all message from spirit. What you're hearing right now, what we're going to tell you, and not because we're anybody, but because they're using us right now to tell you what you need to hear,
Yes.
and they're telling us what we need to hear. And this is almost a gift to Michelle and I, because I can tell you without even asking Michelle that we've both, the past 3 months have been an absolute strain on light workers. I mean, we're not sleeping right. The food we're eating isn't doing what it should, as far as nourishment to our bodies, things like this.
Yes.
Our It's just like we are all on full tilt boogie, and we're coming to the tail end of it, and we all have, I think, and this is a guess, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna hit the nail on the head here. We've all had to kind of back off from everybody, almost go dark.
Yes.
Not dark like our lights are out, but dark like, okay, we have to hibernate a little bit because everything is getting in through all these cracks, and the cracks are usually other people, because they bring it in with, they don't mean to, but
No.
they bring it in with them because they're being used by
Mm.
the other side, even if it's just minute little bit, a little something they say, a timing of a call, a timing of a crisis, whatever it may be, you know. And with the paranormal and the supernatural, then you've got the weird stuff too. It's like somebody's got a, emergency Bigfoot at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
You
It's
know, it's like,
right.
it's absolutely nuts when
It's
you say it
true.
out loud.
It is so true though, because when you
It
have,
sounds so crazy.
but really,
It's
you
so
have
true.
abilities like that. It's a constant. It's day and night, and a lot of people
And
don't
yeah,
understand that. And then we have to cleanse and make sure that
I know.
not just ourselves are cleansed, but our home and our property. There's so
And then
much.
we have to be war ready. War
Yeah,
ready. We're war ready 24 freaking 7 for,
yeah,
like I said, emergency Bigfoots at 3 a.m. There's this comedian out there, and I can't remember who it was, but it was one of those little shorts that pop up in one of the inner tubes. Who knows? But anyway, he was popped up, and he said that his mom is a professional ghost hunter now, and she'll get calls at like 2 o'clock in the morning that she's got an active ghost in the living room, and she's like putting her boots on, like, I'm going. And
yeah.
it was just so funny the way he said it, that she's got cards, and you know but when you tell people, you have certain people that know when to call you. I mean, over 50 years I've got it pretty leveled out now, where the people call me for the right reasons and things like
Yeah.
that. But it's going to come at a time where you're dealing with a crisis in your day, your week, whatever, because it's going to hit you, because the other side knows all this stuff.
Mhm.
So it's using all this timing. So it's absolutely right, that everything is going to come when you're at your worst. So like Michelle's saying, we have to take that time and go, no, wait, no. I'm really weakened down here. I have to build myself up, because somebody's going to need something, and I have to, or just drag myself through the lousy week, whatever it may be.
Yes.
But all of that takes draining. And if you guys are feeling that way, that's fine. You're absolutely right in with everybody else, and it's just this world that's just pressing, but you can almost feel like there's going to be a where a lot of that gets thrown off. And I
Mhm.
feel like it's doing that now, where it's easing up. But that doesn't mean that the people that are still going through all the stuff that we said, that we can look back and go, they're almost not, I don't want to say a young soul, but their journey is young, if that
Mhm.
makes sense,
Yeah.
because they're not listening. They're saying they know all the things. They're saying they do all the things. They're saying that they understand, but their life isn't showing it.
True.
They're not using any of it, and they're reaching out in this like they're in quicksand and you're the branch,
Yeah.
and they're trying to drag you with them, and you're going, you've got to pull, man. You got to pull yourself up, because if
Yeah.
you don't do it, you're going to pull me in with you, and I'm hanging on by a thread over here, and
Right.
I have to keep it ready for whatever that person that is going to call and need help and listen. You
Ex-
have to,
exactly.
because
Yes.
that's who we're here for, and that's what the other side is trying to keep us away from. So our lives as a light workers are very much, if you've ever seen the movie Poltergeist 2. Poltergeist 2 was the one that had the big old Indian.
Yes.
Loved him so much. Loved him so much. And he was very quiet, very stoic about, he went about his business. He was very wise, knew what he was doing. And while all this chaos was going over here with the boy, and the metal is coming from his braces and coming around, and putting him in some kind of this weird metal cocoon, and the parents are screaming, and lights are flashing, and toys are flying, and everything else, he's just sitting there holding the girl in the corner with his back against the wall, with a smile on his face, looking around, because he knows they're after her, and all
Yes.
this chaos is a distraction.
Mhm.
And I think that's what's been happening to a lot of light workers. At least that's what the spirits are telling me. All this is just a distraction. And right now, what I'm going through in my life is, I'm like, okay, well, if you need me to go through this, can I go through it in a different way? I'm bargaining at this point. It's like,
Uh,
I really, I don't know if I I'm kinda like that. It's like, do you really do it? All right, wait a minute. If we have to do this, can we just, like, negotiate here a little bit? Because I really don't wanna do this anymore, you know? So if you're at that point in your life too, like where Michelle says, "I'm here now getting to do the things I wanted to do," and people around me just have to understand that, because 'cause
yeah.
you've got a goal, and if you don't keep your eye on the prize, they're gonna just knock you off track, and you'll never achieve the goal. I'm
Exactly.
going through the same thing, and I'm waiting for the it's almost like it's almost like spiritually, I'm walking on this track, and I'm kinda like walking like Rocky, and I'm ready to just pop the first person that tries to push me off the track, because that's what people will do, especially when you're about ready to achieve it.
Yes. That's true.
So it happens spiritually, not just in your life, but if you're in the paranormal and you're fighting with the supernatural and everything else, same thing. Same
Yes.
thing.
It is. Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true. Let's see if we've got any questions. You guys have any questions in the chat? Because I've got a couple of little surprises here. That so Michelle and I can go grab some more hot water for my tea. I grabbed a couple of things that I thought would be fun, because I'm getting some downloads. I don't know if Michelle is or not, but I would imagine you probably are. And it's most of the stuff is coming in dreams. And a few people in chat have been asking, I want to connect with spirit guides. I want to connect, do these things. Now, just because I said I was in my car asking for my angels to intervene and everything, and I only made it 8 minutes, does not mean they didn't do what I asked them to do. Either I broke, like, oh, screw it.
Yeah.
It's just like I wasn't ready, or I was supposed to go through that so I could learn how not to go, whatever it may be. You've got to really work, reverse engineer that, whatever happened, and go, I could have handled that different. Maybe it's me. I reacted emotionally instead of reacting to it, whatever it may be, all the sayings. But in real life, you just like, oh, screw it. It's like, but you never feel really good about it. It's like when we go home after whatever happened at work, and you're driving home, and you're saying all those things like, well, I'll tell her next time she says to me, I'm going to do the, and you say what you should have said, and you're practicing it out loud. I should have said this. I should have done. here's the thing, you're never going to make them feel the way you feel. You're never going to make them understand the way whatever they did made you feel.
Yeah.
It's the wrong way to go at things. And I think a lot of us are really starting to learn that is just wait a minute. If we back away, go, why did she react that way? Why did I react that way? Why did he react? You know, again, mental illness, we have to, that's a big, broad brush because there's a
Yeah.
lot of that going around out there.
Right.
And you are tired because light workers have been drugged through the mud for about 15 years now. This
Yeah.
last 5 has been a crescendo of cacophony of batshit crazy. And here's where we are. So if you want to ask your spirit guides for assistance, the first thing I think, and I'm going to ask Michelle what she thinks, is you have to give them permission. You
Mm-hmm.
have to let them know that you would like their help. You would like them to intervene for a specific reason. You have to be very specific and then ask them to come to you or send someone to you. It's more than likely going to be a pet. I don't know why that's usually first, but it usually is. That's my experience with, you know,
Yes.
and connect in that way. And you want to do that 3 nights in a row. I think after 3 nights in a row, they start to get the idea. And it's also a ritual for you to connect into the energy. Michelle, what would your advice be if you wanted to connect in with spirit guides to try to get help with these rough days?
So, absolutely what you said, of course, yes, because they don't want to scare us. That's
Hmm.
what I get. The main reason for that is asking them or letting them know, hey, I'm ready. But they have to see you're ready because some people literally do freak out if they see a spirit. Say they've went most of their life, they've never experienced anything what we would call paranormal, which is just simply not the normal, right? um, and our guides want to make sure that if they present themselves, whether by animal, insect, mine started with insects, um, but regardless, it's like they want to make sure that we really are ready, um, because it's not something you can't put it in reverse. Once you know, you know. And so then, theta dream state, THETA. That's what I always suggest to anyone that is new to getting information or wanting to get information. Start with theta dream state. Please research that. Um, so, with theta dream state, we have approximately, give or take, 15 minutes prior to when we actually fall asleep, and 15 minutes, give or take, when we are awakening. So, like awakening from sleep. Um, so during those moments, and I do find this is just myself personally, but I do find that I receive much more information as I'm falling to sleep, but I'm still awake. Um, Now, how I go about this is, let's say I've had a pot of coffee, okay, and then someone reaches out and says, I need an emergency reading right now. I can't wait. I'm in this situation, right? And I'm like, shoot, I just drank a whole pot of coffee, and I'm really going, right? So I eat carbs, healthy carbs, and I just eat until I can't eat anymore. And I give that about 30-45 minutes to kick in. And then that makes me sleepy, right? It makes me feel like I could lay down and take a nap. So it doesn't mean it has to be at bedtime. It can be any time throughout the day that you feel like you could literally go to sleep. Okay.
Hmm.
So when you begin feeling like that, that's when I recommend starting out, to, like, as soon as you lay down, or some people like to sit up, but I get the best results laying down. Um, on my right side, um, I don't get as much information. I get more when I'm laying on my left side or on my back. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. Um,
And that's just something you've worked out over time, just
yes,
by paying attention to those little details because it's so true. Multiple times I've said the voices on this side are different from the ones on this side, and mostly they come from here. All that kind of stuff. So if you guys are feeling that, that's absolutely on point. Absolutely on point.
and also, so like, if you decide that you want to meditate laying down, So what I do is, let's say I have a question. Just start out with one question. Don't bombard anything, because what you want to do is you want to build and begin learning. As Cisco was saying, you need to like learn to recognize how information's coming through for you, because we're all different. We're not all going to receive information the same way. And
Mm-hmm.
but like when you lay down, if you clear your mind and you say, okay, I'm going to ask one question, and ask that one question to spirit, okay? And say, please show me, tell me, or both. So that can mean envision, that can mean hearing, or it can mean both of it, like a video clip. But just, please show me, tell me, or both the answer to this question, and then leave it. Clear your mind and just relax. Feel like you're relaxing into the bed. And right as you start to drift off to sleep, you'll hear something. You'll
Mm-hmm.
hear someone talking, or you'll see something, or you might just hear a sound. And sometimes it can. I had one person that I was mentoring. Um, it took him about, it was close to 2 months before he actually started hearing. It did. Once he started hearing, then that's when he was like, oh, I finally got it. I finally understand how to do this. So be patient with yourself and
Yes.
with
So
spirit.
patient. So
Yeah.
patient. Yeah, and be the only thing I would add to that is just be very specific to
Yes.
your spirit guides. Say spirit guides, if you don't jump in saying a lot of things. It's like, I want to know the spirit guide's name. I want to know all the different things. Everybody has a different route you can take. I don't think any of them are wrong. It's all different ways to ease your toe into the shallow end of the pool, if that's what you're doing. I mean, but I believe at this point in time in your life, and especially if you're a light worker and you've been out there hacking at it, because we all know it's not easy. Brian said it in here in the chat. We get shit on all the time, because nobody understands why we go into these dark places, and we're not reaching out and talking to people. We're just trying to stay focused and trying to achieve the next thing, and we're all going through these rough patches right now. We really, really are. And you can't move out in all these different directions, because we're not getting anywhere. We're almost stagnant, and we're just trying to keep our heads above water. I think a lot of us are in that position. So if everybody, if you feel like this is what you're having to do, like I have people in here like Scott, he goes off and he might be by himself in nature, which is like the best thing. It's like the best thing that you could possibly do. But
Yes.
he had to work at that. That's not something that came easy. This was a goal he had to keep his eye on, and he had to keep his eye on the prize. He had to work for it, and he had to go without, and I'm just assuming here. I'm sorry, Scott, I don't mean to assume, but it's just how you achieve things. You have to chip away at it, and you stay focused at it. And we all have to stay that way in our lives to get anywhere. If we're stagnant in a job or whatever. And I think that we're feeling the push right now, Michelle,
Mhm.
because we've gotten through this part, and the next big thing is coming. So I think we're all getting shifted into our places, and we might be feeling like life is shoving us, or life is moving us here, or that job, or that whatever it may be, because we're
Yes.
supposed to be in our places for whatever is next, what
Yeah.
we've been training for. That's what it feels like. So a lot of us are going through that. But the main thing before you go to sleep is to be, or in that state you described so well, of speak out to your spirit guides and say, spirit guides, I don't know which one of you is how do I say this? um, the strongest in the group right now. And what I mean by that is your spirit guides shift as you need them. Their specialties come forward. The person with that specialty to help you through this patch of life comes forward. So the reason I say it like that is they're not always the same. You have some that are, now correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle. There, you have some that you're just born with. Angels, it was in that little video I put forward. Certain angels you come in with. Nobody comes in alone. Then you have spirit guides that's usually with you multiple lifetimes. And
Yes.
then you have a specialty spirit guides that come in. to help you through certain patches. So what I normally say is whatever spirit guide I need to hear from tonight, if you could come forth and give me a message that's going to help me in my nearest future endeavors, what I need to know for this week, this day, whatever. If you would come through and give me a clear message, even if it's a message of love and that I'm not alone. And that's when I started getting animals, because I think their love is so pure and so connected to us
Yes.
that it's so easy for them to just come through and we're so familiar with them. It's
Yes.
almost like when you see that dog running towards you that you've known all, so many parts of your life, and it's all of the inhibitions and everything is gone. It's just you just embrace that animal the way you normally would when you came home from work and they were here, that kind of thing. So ask for that before you go to sleep. Be specific, and usually you have to do it 2 or 3 times. Some of us are more connected than others. Some of us have a little bit more rocky road, might have to do it a little longer. Doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. You
No.
just need to give permission for them to help you and for
Mhm.
them to give you this information. They're not going to be able to tell you everything, because some things you can't know. That's going
Right.
to really mess you up. But that's why I said that about Scott. It's a perfect example to achieve the things he wanted. He might have had to go without, like, no, I'm not going to go out and get that instant thing. I'm going to save up for that thing that's going to get me through a couple of years, like a generator. I'm going to hook up solar. I'm going to do this, and this is going to be a big payoff. And look, we've all known the Fast and Furious, from back in high school, people that we grew up with that thought they went at things really fast. And then you go to the reunion and they find out that nobody is where they thought they were going to be, you know,
Right.
and some people were right where they needed to be and they were just fine with it. And others were just covering it up with so many different things. Name your poison. But
Yeah.
the ones that slow and steady wins the race, the ones that had their eye on that prize and didn't let things get in the way of that. A lot of us light workers are having to do that right now because
Yeah.
we're going to the next thing. And it doesn't mean that we're not taking others with us or not, you know, we're not going to doing all the socials and doing all the calls and doing all the everything else. It's just we're trying to stay focused. And so many people that I know right now that are in my life are doing that right now,
Mhm.
just trying to get to the next thing. So
Yes.
we can get our feet firmly planted on the ground. Is anybody in the chat feeling like that? Like you're just trying to get that place where you just get your roots dug in, or maybe you're going to branch out. Your roots are in, but now you're going to branch those branches out and reach for something, because I'm telling you, everybody's getting the feeling now, Michelle, of I think one of the things the spirits are telling us, and what I'm getting downloaded is now's the time to start a small business. Now's the time to branch out and do that thing that you wanted to do. Here it comes. This is it.
Cisco, you
What
are
is it?
seeing what came through. You are
You tell me. Tell me. You tell me what came through, and then I'm going to say, wow, wow, wow,
yes.
wow.
You just spoke it.
Oh my goodness. I'm getting this is what I'm getting. Start that small business. Buy that house, buy that piece of land, do the thing, go back to college if that's what you want to get the degree, go to the trade school, get the next thing. Now, now, now.
Now,
It's so loud.
now you are right.
You
Now,
tell it from your side. You got downloads. Tell us what you got, sweetie.
yes, I want to say this real quick. Plant the seeds, like Cisco said earlier. We're not looking for a get rich quick. That's not what Spirit wants. We're supposed to be planting seeds for things that will come through later on, things that have to mature and grow. Okay, so you don't you careful at this time. Let's see.
Can you hear me? Because I'm not hearing you.
Yes, I
See
can hear you.
if by any chance you hit your muted. Are you guys hearing Michelle?
Can you hear me?
Hey Steph, how you doing, sweetie? Check your mic,
Check my
because
mic.
I'm not hearing you. It might be me. I'm gonna check my stuff. Hold on 1 second.
Can you hear
Let
me?
me double check. Could be me. Okay. Say something, sweetie.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I got you. I got you back. I got you
Yeah.
back. It was me. Something
Okay.
flashed on my screen. Spirit guides are saying, tell me to shut up and let Michelle talk. So I'm going to shut up.
Oh my gosh.
Go
Okay,
ahead,
so
baby. Tell us what you got. Hey, Steph. Hi, honey.
hi, Stephanie. Okay, so I had a lot of info that came through. So I get a lot of times symbols. That's how spirit shows me or tells me stuff when it's for collective. If it's one on one, then I literally see like video clips of the actual scenario, okay, playing out, kind of like a YouTube short. But when it's for a collective or multiple people, I get like symbols. So what I saw, and I'm going to explain all this. First of all, I saw what is representing the collective here. So that would be those of you who are in, who have began the awakening process or are considering yourselves as higher frequency. Okay. So most likely everyone watching this. Okay. Now, because the head came through really, really large, in this situation, you can see you collective, you are smiling, right? You're really happy. You have a blue eye here. You're taking your right hand and you're doing this, okay? This is all symbolic. All right. So you also notice there's a full head of hair and the length of the hair. So I'm going to go over the meanings of this for you. Now, this is, I asked Spirit to give me a collective reading for the next 30 days. Okay. So the next 30 days. First of all, the symbolic meaning of the right hand, that's authority. Okay. And here you are coming in as a giant. That tells me again, authority figure. So many of you, you could be a parent, grandparent, you could be a police officer or work with the court of justice. You could be a teacher, a leader of some sort, or a leader of a community. But there's something here about you being like the head or some type of leader. Okay. Now, this would be someone that other people would look up to. Okay. Even if you say, you know what, I stay at home, I never go outside, I never talk to anybody, there has to be someone that looks up to you that way. If you have to go get groceries and say you're at the store, you give someone that beautiful smile and they can feel your heart. Okay. You have just become this person I'm talking about. Okay. I got to tell you this. So like on my way back from Kentucky to where I am now, yes, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday, Cisco. When I stopped to get gas and I went up to pay, and I can't remember the amount now, but and I also got some aspirin because I noticed I was getting a headache. And I hadn't had a headache in a really, really long time.
Me
Um,
too, man. Lots of them.
but that was significant because I got the gas, paid for that, and then I had forgotten to get the aspirin. So I went back and got the aspirin. And when I paid for it, I can't remember. I think it was 333. That's what it was because that's my number. Okay, so it was 333, and I made the comment to the guy at the with the cashier, and I said, I've been seeing 333 all day, and 1010, 1111 all day, and he said, I've been seeing 111 and 1111. So come to find out, and then he tells me, he says, he said, I could tell you have such a good heart. He may be watching this now. He's a new subscriber.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful.
yes, but and hello if you are, love you. But he said that he could tell that I had a very friendly heart or soul, and so that's what I'm talking about here. So even if you don't see yourself as some sort of authoritative role, I assure you, there is someone. If you're watching this right now and you
Mm-hmm.
feel you are a star seed, a light worker, a chosen one, okay, then there is someone, at least one person, that sees you as this. Okay. Now, this is what's significant. So the eye that I did see was blue. Now, blue is symbolic for mystical and other realms, being able to connect, just as Cisco was talking about. Okay. So that is going to be increasing if you're not if you're not witnessing that already, get prepared because it's getting ready to start happening. It's also symbolic of peace and calm. Okay. So for many of us, I know we've been, really praying and trying to manifest calm and peace into our lives. That's coming as well. Okay. So that's the good thing. Now, also the hair, as I said, notice the hair is a full head of hair and the length. So what that tells me symbolically, because there's a full head of hair, the scalp is completely covered. That's divine protection. Okay. And it's also in divine alignment. Now, the length of
Good.
the longer the hair, it's like the higher the connection. Okay. And the more protection. So you can see it's kind of like medium length, right?
Hmm.
So what this is telling me here is that there are many who may have either started the awakening process or they're right at the verge of it. And to let you know, you're going to be divinely protected. Those of you that this part is for, not
Hang
to,
on, guys. You're good.
don't be afraid. Okay, a lot of people, when we were talking about, how to meditate, how to connect, a lot of people are afraid because they're afraid they're going to connect with the wrong entity or, something like that.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what I do. Everyone may not agree. That's okay. Okay, we're all on our own journey, but I'll tell you what I do. Um, I have realized that within consciousness, there's also a separation between consciousness to me, which is all realms, positive and negative. But then we have Christ consciousness, which is nothing
Hmm.
but total, complete love and peace.
Yep.
Absolute truth. And
Hmm.
that's where I ask to go when I go to the Akashic records. Okay.
Hmm.
To like getting this information here. Okay. So um to me, as long as I ask to be taken into Christ consciousness for the greater good of humanity, to give me truth, to give me truth in love as well. So a loving truth for people. Um, then I trust and I know that I am going somewhere beautiful within consciousness. Okay. So as long as you take a preventative measure, something that makes you feel, and you have the intention of going somewhere where there's nothing but love and truth, and you will not accept anything negative to come through, and you state that, then there's nothing to fear.
There
Okay.
it is. And I like to add to that that if you ask your guides to not allow, this is what Jim Wyrick and I come on and talk about. Brian's come on here and talked about this. So many people, have come on and talked about it. When you do this, you have got to cover yourself in
Yeah.
this love vibration. You if you want to talk to ascended beings, if you want help from ascended beings and people that are vibrating on a higher level, you've got to go there, which is why, I've explained 1,000 times why I play music, with happy animals and things before we get started, if we're going to talk about this, because we're all being attacked right now. There's,
Yes.
again, I want you to remember the ravine. I want you to remember that wonderful movie we saw. It's available free right now on my Rumble channel. You can go watch it. You can watch Nefarious, same thing. All the messages are the same. It's constant spiritual warfare. It's constant coming in on these electronics. I've cut off so much, I do research, I listen to my podcast, but if I'm getting a bad vibe, I'll cut it right off. Again, I'm not texting a lot. I'm not on social media. I'm not on anything because, again, you're just allowing everything to get in. So you got to start shutting everything down and open up everything slow again, because this past, I want to say 7 months, it's been all out. Full tilt boogie on the black magic, on the hoodoo, on the chaos magic, on all kinds of stuff. And I don't care who you are or how tough you think you are, you're going to get hit. You're going to get some hard, heavy stomach blows. We're getting headaches. They're
Yes.
hit, they're making us sick. They're doing all kinds of things. So you have to build up your immune system. your your body immune,
Yeah.
okay? Please do that, and please start with herbal things. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not any of those things. I'm me, but I'm telling you, listen, uphill both ways, barefoot, just telling you, I went the hard road.
Yeah.
So the wisdom I have, what little it may be, I'm telling you that the answer to most of your natural things that are wrong are natural answers. So
Yeah.
try to go herbal things first if you can. There's nothing wrong with Western medicine if you've got a good person and you've got a good, the deal, the spiel, right? So, but what I'm saying is try to go there because we're all being drawn back to nature. So, what better way? Try to eat better natural food. It's very hard right now, but I think things are shifting and changing. So it might cost a little more. You might have to eat a little less. You might have to, I've talked about the free app you can get, that Yuka or whatever it's called, where you can scan the food and it lists it, makes it very easy for you. It tells you the poisons that are in there. Don't eat it. Don't give it to your kids. And when you start peeling this stuff back, it'll get easier because when you're asking to attach yourself to these ascended beings and these higher vibrations, and you carry with you all of these earthly bullshit about, well, angels are just for these people, only the North Lake Protestant Quakers get to have this angel because stop it. That's a man's bullshit.
Yes.
What Michelle is saying, that if you want to collect into the love, you want to collect into the angel vibration, the Christ vibration, all of that, today is the day that you can say that that is the best vibration you can connect into. Okay.
Yes.
So and Michelle and I can tell you right now that we have helped multiple people who thought that that wasn't true. And when they were in darkness and their ankles were being pulled on, I can tell you the first name that came out of their mouth, because there are no atheists in foxholes. There just isn't. So and again, there's not just one path to love.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever path your journey and you're walking on, please absorb all of that. But if you want the highest, you go to the highest, and
Yeah.
these ascended beings, and you're connected to that energy.
Yeah.
And I know, listen, I know pagans, I know witches, I know full-on left-handers, I know shamans and gypsy witches and old grannies that live on the mountain. We all connect into the same healing vibration, love vibration.
Mm-hmm.
We all do.
Yeah.
When you're on the side of good, you know where to go, and when you're on the side of the bad, well, you know where to go. You know,
Exactly.
and that's spiritual warfare, and somewhere in the middle is us being constantly pulled back and forth,
Yes.
constantly pulled back and forth. And just like in the ravine, when they were saying the forgiveness, without forgiving and letting it go, Michelle and I were talking about that in the beginning, these were the things that were holding these people back. These were the barriers they were building for themselves, brick by brick, right? And
Right.
chain by chain, link by link, however you want to put it. You can go Dickens if you want. And this is what we do to ourselves. And we just, the chain, you're in charge of the chains,
Yeah.
nobody else. We
Right.
blame everybody else. Oh, this person wrapped me in chains. You let them. You let them, and people are going to come at you, and they're going to come at you. And you said this, you did these things, you did this. And I tell my friends all the time, nope, not going there. I'm not getting dug into that. I'm not getting pulled into that. I love you very much. Take a break a week,
Yes.
because I can't, I don't have the energy,
Yeah.
and it's okay. Michelle and I are both here tonight to tell you it's okay to say that. Everybody just take a deep breath and
Mhm.
then come back on that journey. And that's okay, because most people are going to run parallel with you, whether they know it or not. And you're going to meet up in those crossroads, meet again at the right time. But right now, everybody's trying to deal with theirs. And if you're having a hard time as a light worker right now, I'm nobody, but I'm going to go ahead and give you permission to just be okay with being not 100% okay right now. You have to take care of you. You
Yes.
have to take care of you. You cannot take care of anybody else if
Mhm.
you're a mess.
That's right. That
And
is so.
we've earned it. Right,
Mhm.
Michelle? And isn't that what the spirits are telling us too?
Yes.
I mean,
Absolutely.
you've
What happened?
had it. You've had experiences. I know you've told me in the past. I've had experience. I had whatever name you want to give this being. I had an angel. Get in a car. I'm just going to say that. Get in a car with me. Eyes. You talk about blue eyes. The most piercing blue eyes I've ever seen in my entire life, you know. And I've looked in the eyes of my children, and I can tell you these were the most amazing eyes I've ever seen in my life. There was something in those eyes. And the things that this person said to me, all knowing, did never met him before, had no idea what I was doing. It was just an amazing experience. But when he looked at me and said, "You cannot help someone who does not want to be helped," and I mean, just you could almost there was a vacuum that happened, you know, around those words.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and then to turn around and there's no car and there's nobody there and there was no ride and there was no person. I mean, that leaves you stunned enough. But to have the words that this person said to me ringing in my ears and what I was going through at the time, I probably would have killed myself, you know, trying to help this person, you
Yeah.
know. But I was just supposed to glean from it. I look back and I go, gee, I wish that had gone down different, but it went down exactly like it was supposed to. I gleaned from it what I could, and now I'm here to try to help other people get through certain things that way. And that's what we're supposed to do.
Yes. Yes.
There you go. Are you ready for a quickie to hear from? I know you got a little bit more, and we'll come back and we'll hear what else you heard from Spirit. I'm going to grab some hot water. It's about 9 minutes, but I thought it'd be really neat to bring in. I don't know if you've ever heard of Leslie Flint.
No.
Leslie Flint was a medium. I just think it's so neat the way you get messages, and like you said, you described it so well. You get these messages almost like shorts, like the short videos, like
Yes.
really really quick. I
Hmm.
get those too. They're coming more than they used to. Before I would get symbols, but now it's like play out, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
well this one, you know, I see it more, and that'll happen to you guys too. The more you practice it, the more you exercise it, the better it'll come. But Leslie Flint had he was what you call a voice medium. So it's like a trance medium and a channeler. But what these spirits do is it's the type of channeling where it actually uses the voice box through
Uh-huh.
its energy to use almost its voice. And it's an amazing situation to think about these spirit guides. Okay, so Leslie Flint spirit guides. This is the way it works for everybody, Michelle, myself, you guys. Your spirit guides get with their spirit guides, and their people get with your people, and they talk. And they
Yes.
say, we're going to bring this spirit in, or this earthbound, usually earthbound ghost that they're trying to help, but for some reason cannot reach this person. So they're going to bring in this person to this group because there's somebody in this group that will resonate with this spirit, that energy. That sounds like a wild way to describe it, but it's true. It happens at the Hoover House. It's happened to Michelle. It's happened to me. And like I said, probably to you guys if you've ever done spirit communication. So they come in and they try to figure out how to, I guess, via, let's just say ectoplasm or whatever, they're actually trying to use this voice box and learn to speak again because they don't have a voice box anymore. This is like a crazy thing. Now, back when I was listening and reading Hans Holzler, and he would work with trance mediums, Sybil Leek and Ethel Myers and people like that, and they never quite described it that way on how they're using the voice box and stuff. It's very interesting. But what's even more interesting is the things that they tell us that are happening on the other side. And it's almost like most of them come through with almost a devil may care kind of attitude, like, hey, that's all right, I got over here and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, it was even more, and they're telling me that I got to forgive this guy because that's the only way I'm going to move on over to where I, you know, want to be over here to do these things and do this. And so it's almost like they're describing, you gotta, oh gosh, what's the words I'm looking for, you almost have to have the right tools to go through the door. You
Yes.
know, it's like if you don't get rid of this, you don't get this key to open that door to go to the next step.
Yeah.
And they're bringing them through so they can want to get the key, understand why they want the key, and why the key is important. And this person in this room, some offshoot person, is going to be able to communicate with us. And these doggone spirit guides know this, and they've gone through a bunch of things behind the scenes to arrange this 5 minutes in time. It's
Yes.
incredible. It's incredible. Isn't that crazy, Michelle? So
Yes.
without further ado, about 5 minutes of this, if I could hit the right buttons and play this. This is Leslie Flint via, let me see, what is the name of this guy? This channel does such a great job with his stuff. I have some that are directly with Leslie Flint's voice, and then I have one that's a kind of a voiceover. This one was okay. Conversation with Ghost describes the other side. This is so interesting. I'm going to grab some hot water, Michelle, but I will be here, and you can do the same if you need to, sweetheart.
Hey, yeah, I'll run. I'll be back.
All right.
This is an edited version of a conversation that took place November the 4th, 1968, with the spirit of Harry Tucker, who was an 18th century highwayman.
This game, you're not ready for it.
The medium was Leslie Flint. My name was Harry Tucker, and I stole a few gold coins. Times have changed. Everything's changed. There was an old place round here that I used to hide out. That's all gone. I have no desire to come back to your world. I'm a different fellow now. I'm a happy man. When I was on your side, this was all fields. There was an old place called the Boar, where I used to hide when things got a bit too hot. I used to go down to Hempstead. That was about 180 years ago. Unlike many others like me who met the gallows near London's Marble Arch, I cheated them, didn't I? But I wasn't exactly a highwayman. I didn't like it when I passed. I remember sitting in the inn. I was getting on a bit then, and I'd got a little bit tucked away, but I died. I remember coming down the staircase with not a soul about. Didn't know I was dead. I thought I'd get a bottle. The innkeeper didn't know that I used to go down and help myself in the night. They never missed it. I went down at about 3 in the morning. I remember hearing the church clock strike, so I put my hand in the cupboard and went to get hold of a bottle, but I couldn't pick it up. The more I put my hand around it, the more difficult it was. Then it suddenly struck me. Coming down the stairs, it was as if I didn't feel my hand on the banister and my feet on the stairs. Didn't feel any weight. I thought I was dreaming or sick, so I went back to bed. I went upstairs and opened the door, but it was as if I'd walked through it. I thought I must be having some sort of a nightmare. I go to the bed and see a man there. I thought I'd gone into the wrong room. I saw moonlight streaming down through the window into the bed, and I could see this man's face and thought, God, he's like me. Then I could see it was me, and I started running down the stairs shouting like the devil was behind me. I ran up the stairs and banged on the doors, but no one took any notice. I flew down the stairs, opened the door of the inn, and flew down the path shouting. I ran down the road across the fields and stopped at the river. I sat down on the bank. I realized there was something different about me. I didn't feel the same. It was now daybreak, and I was sitting on the edge of the bank, and I could see the water and my reflection. I looked like a young fellow, I thought. This ain't me. I thought there was someone behind me, and I turned around, and there was no one there. I got up and walked many miles. A carriage went by, and it was full of people. I could hear people gather around me, but I couldn't see them. But I could hear them talking and laughing. I could hear their footsteps. I looked behind me and I couldn't see anyone. I could see people doing ordinary things, passing little cottages. I saw people banging their carpets and collecting eggs. I could see cows in the fields and people on horseback, but they couldn't see or hear me. I could hear people behind me. I could see those that were still on earth, but I couldn't see these other people that I knew were behind me. It was like a big crowd of people, and I knew they were there, but why were they following me? Why could I see other people that were still obviously on earth and they couldn't see me? I remember feeling hungry and came to a place where I could find something to eat. I could hear people laughing, and as I went in the door, I could hear them behind me and quickly looked around, but no one came in. There were other people inside, and I sat down and banged on the table for attention, but no one took any notice. Someone was eating a pie as I kept banging on the table. No one took any notice. I went up to the fireplace and called out to the man, "Come on, I want something." He didn't take any notice. I realized they didn't know I was there. I left, and when I got to the door, I could see hundreds of people. There were men, women, children, and even dogs all stretching across the road. They were all laughing, and two people came forward, and I recognized them. One was my father, who'd been dead for around 40 years. He came laughing. I'd never seen him look so well, red-faced, happy, jolly. There was my sister, who died many years before. They said, "Come on, we've been following you, waiting for you, but you weren't ready. You couldn't see us. You didn't know we was there." We've brought all our old friends. I looked around and saw all these people I'd known years ago. My father was a very religious man. Oh, shocking he was. That's why I ran away from home when I was young. I suddenly realized that something terrible had happened. They took my arms and pulled me through the crowd. They were all singing and sounding like a choir, but they weren't singing anything religious. It was happy, bright, and colourful. Everybody looked well dressed, and the hair was beautifully brushed. I looked at myself and noticed I wasn't wearing old clothes, but was wearing a plum-coloured suit with nice breeches and shoes, and I realised that I was different. I realised their thoughts towards me had helped me. We went up the road singing, and I'm laughing. I was happy and merry, and I lost my hunger. We reached the top of this hill where I looked down, and in the distance was a great city with beautiful buildings, all lit up, bright, shiny, and new. It was as if the walls were made of jasper and pearl. I was now outside an entrance to a castle, but not like any castle I'd ever seen. It was huge, with turrets. The gates opened by themselves, and I seemed to glide through. I was now on my own, and yet I wasn't. I was conscious of a very tall person beside me, but I couldn't see him. I had the feeling he was a knight. It was as if he was a wonderful soul full of light. We went up a great staircase and along a big balcony. We came to a door and went in. It was as if this door opened on its own accord. There was a great big hall with large tapestries on the wall, beautiful colours and needlework, and there were several ladies sitting there in old-fashioned costumes. There was a man who I thought was a king, and he looked old. He was sitting on a big chair that was raised up while the ladies were sitting around. I felt a lot of warmth coming from him as I walked down this hall, and as I got near him, he stood up and beckoned me forward. He said, "Now you're here, you shall see for yourself how you have prepared that which is your home." I remembered all the things I'd done. I'd never really hurt anyone, thank God, but I'd robbed and thieved a bit. They were hard times, and it was as if all my life had come back in front of me. He beckoned me to follow him. We went down a long corridor and down into dungeons. We went down this long illuminated passage and came to a small room where there was a man sitting at a table. I looked at him as I went in, and it was me. As I was confused. This person said, "This is as you were." I said, "How do you mean, what I was?" He said, "You were like a man in a dungeon you created for yourself and shut out the things that mattered. But this is no more. This is no longer you, because this is a reflection of what was. But what is and what is to come is what matters. You created for yourself a dungeon of darkness around yourself. You shut out the light because your mind wasn't open. Now you shall learn, and I shall help you to learn. Come, I will take you elsewhere." I went back up many steps and came to a large hall. The ladies were still there, and one of them came forward and took me by the hand, and I was transformed. I looked at her face, and it was a face that I'd never forgotten. She was a girl I knew in my early years and was very attached to. We looked at each other, and I realized my life could have taken a different path. I would have been a different person. I wouldn't have gotten into bad company and taken up the road. If she hadn't died when she was a young woman, we could have married, and I would probably have been a different person. I'd have worked on the farm or something and supported us. But she died, and that's what really turned me against everything and everybody. She said, "Now you can start all over again with me. I'm to guide you and show you the way." I walked with her out of this great castle, and we came to a small cottage on the verge of a town with a thatched roof with a low wall around it. There was a beautiful feeling that I'd come home, and yet I'd never known this place before on earth. As we entered, she looked different, and yet she was the same. Her clothes changed, and instead of this beautiful elaborate dress, she's got a very simple cotton dress, but she still looked the same to me. She'd been waiting for me all this time, trying to get me on the right path.
Wow.
That is a reading. Isn't that something? That is a reading from Weird World on YouTube, and I highly recommend that channel. He does a lot of different readings from Leslie Flint, and he takes them and condenses them down. That was an actual conversation with a ghost from the other side and how his meeting was when he went over. I picked that one because if you notice, it didn't say have a lot of I went down the tunnel of light and I did these things. He basically was wandering around in familiar area where he had lived, was trying to get something to eat, and then went through a door. It seemed like this doorway was his path to his loved ones on the other side, and then they start showing him the path he could have took. I love the statement about how she waited for him, and now his world, as soon as he thought it, like I could start again with her and we could be together in this little thatched roof house, whatever. That was his idea of starting over. He had seen what he had done wrong. He had boxed himself away from everybody. Notice they didn't also come in and say, like he put, I robbed and thieved a bit. That wasn't the first thing they threw in his face. Well, you were this way. They talked more about what he had done to himself and blocked himself away from living and life. And I thought that was such an important message because a lot of us could try to, as light workers, try to box ourselves away, as we talked about in the beginning, trying to protect ourselves from letting other stuff in because we're having such a hard time battling. I thought this was such an important message. What did you get from that, Michelle?
Yes, absolutely. Well, of course, I had to go potty, but
It's fine. What you caught?
And what I got at the end, though, I feel like, that's where a lot of us.
Good night, sweetie.
Bye.
Good night, sweetheart.
I think that's like where a lot of us feel like we fall short in the aspect of how can I say this? Wishing that we had taken one direction and maybe maybe we didn't act on it, or we did act on it, but we weren't in the energy we were supposed to be, either them or us. Things don't work out, and things aren't equally yoked, and then it's just beautiful knowing that someone can be there, which they are, many, when we are getting ready to pass. They're right there to continue.
Isn't it wonderful?
It doesn't just stop here.
It's amazing to me too how much we reach out to connect to the people that have passed, and of course there's some reasons for that. We got cut off and they've obviously changed where they are, and it's a little bit harder to communicate, but we don't communicate with them when they're alive. I've got stuff like that going on now. I said it in the beginning. I just don't want to talk to anybody. I'm not talking to anybody because sisters and blood relatives and everything else, it just seems like over the past year and a half, it's just gotten to the point where I'm up here, and by the time I get done talking to them, I'm down here again, and it takes me hours to get back to where I was.
That's
because
true.
they're in a different time slot than, and that doesn't mean I'm in a better one and they're in a worse one. It just means we're just different. And I think it's okay to give yourself permission, right, Michelle? Give yourself permission to do it. Like, you've had to do this recently,
Yes.
And I'm sure if we had Stephanie on here tonight, she'd be saying she's just always got her stuff together, though. She looks like she's always, doesn't she? She's always so well put together. She's got such a happy aura. She's just really got it. She has really come into her. She's the energy that she has is what I strive. Sure, can I borrow a cup of that, please?
Right?
Because it's just I'm still in that battle. It seems like I've been there for a long time. We talked about why people get angry because you care, and you've been hurt and you're not going to be hurt again. And you don't have any time for anybody's BS.
No.
We're not sugarcoating it anymore.
No.
We're at this point and people look at us. What do you mean you're a light worker? You're the brashest, most edgiest, brazen bitch I've ever met. And I'm like, yep, that's a light worker. It's where I am right now, It's just, you're coming to me with your silly crap, and I'm sorry I can't get on the level of anxiety you have about this, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like I see this, and you're telling me about this, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've got this kind of emotion going with this, and I
Mhm.
don't know how to you gotta work that out, honey. That's gotta get beaten off you with life.
Yeah, and we absorb that, and it's like we absorb it so much that that can totally ruin our complete day, our week, our months, if we don't know how to cleanse it. And the thing is, the more
Oh,
that
yes.
we allow people to come into our space, being in a lower frequency, whether they're whatever, um, fussing and arguing about another situation that's not ours, or that's not, it's different if it's someone who is in need.
Mhm.
And if they're truly in need, that's different. I want
It's
to
different.
here. It's not that I'm not accessible. It's not that we're not accessible. It's that being making ourselves accessible over and over and over again to the same people that over and over and over again keep coming back with the same
Mhm.
complaints. And
Mhm.
as Cisco was saying earlier, and they don't do anything about it to switch it up, because yes, we don't have time for that because we're trying to live our purpose.
Mhm.
We've got a
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah. And
And
they've got it, whatever they're going through has to be shattered in pieces till they're ready to pick it up.
yeah,
And you keep helping them put the wrong glue on this mess, and shoving all these pieces in where they don't they have to go through. And doesn't mean you don't love them. Doesn't mean you don't care about what they're going through. It's almost that. I used to have to go through this a lot when I was a lot more active in the herbal, when I was in Alabama, going to a lot of powwows and things like that. And I would sit with the elders and they would tell me, you can't, if you tell somebody three times is your limit. You tell them three times and then you must stop. It's not a choice. You must stop. Because at that point, you know that they're not ready to absorb the information you're giving them. You've planted the seed. You must walk away. It is no longer your business because you planted the seed, you know, and it has to, just like that parable where some is going to land in fertile soil, some is going to land in the weeds, some is going to get trampled on, some is all the things. So you have to do that, but you have to do that for yourself. And
mhm.
so many of us don't do that because we care and we're compassionate. We have empathy and we want to reach out to that person and we want to pull them. Come on, dude, just come, just pull. You can do this. You
Yeah,
have to, because look, when you can't stay down with somebody because you're going to not get anywhere too. So again, if you find yourself that you're surrounded with the people you're not making, right now, you're saying you have to be accessible. I'm closed for business. I'm absolutely this week for the next 2-3 weeks, I have to make those things because I know what I have coming at work. I know what I want to achieve in my own outside of the base job,
yeah,
my actual career stuff, and then I have so many other things going on. And you have to be able to do that because,
yeah,
again, if people aren't respecting that about you, if
yeah.
you have a home job or if you're doing something like Michelle does, she does a wonderful channel. And we haven't even mentioned that. I wanted to. Stephanie has a wonderful channel, Get Spooky. Michelle has a wonderful channels. Michelle Brandenburg. I know you have another one too. What's the title of the YouTube? You have a couple, right?
Well, I do, but I don't really have them active and running.
Okay.
I
The one
have,
that you have active that are you doing with the readings and stuff that I
yes,
see? That one, and that one is Michelle Brandenburg YouTube, right?
yes, yes,
Okay.
Michelle Brandenburg, psychic medium, tarot, and more. Yes.
There you go. And I highly recommend it. And please go out there, subscribe to this, get your readings because Steph and Michelle and I were going to do astrology. I don't know much about astrology. I will admit, I know I'm a Capricorn. That's about it. There's cusps and there's moons and there's stars and there's just all kinds of stuff. And I know it's important, but to some people, it's all broke down to that little thing that you'd look in the back of the newspaper when I was in high school to see what kind of week you were going to have. Capricorn, you're going to meet your love and you're going to have a fortunate 3 is your lucky number, those kind of things. And I mean, but if you're not in tune with it and you connect, and I think it's such an important tool right now to have. I think there's a wonder of knowledge involved in it. There's so many energy connections and everything else. I want to learn about it. And I thought these ladies would be great to teach us and come on here and do something. Maybe we'll do a couple, 3 readings or something real quick. I don't want them to come work, but I want you to see what they do, because I want you to go connect into their channels. Not only that, but Get Spooky and Michelle, you've come with a couple of paranormal investigations with Stephanie and Get Spooky,
Yeah.
some really fantastic ones, and that's on that channel on Get Spooky as well, is it not, Michelle?
Yes, it was
You wanted to say something about it? Go ahead.
Yes, it was one investigation, but split up into 3 parts. And the way that Stephanie made it, it was like you have to watch the first one in order to understand the second and the third. So you need to make sure to watch them all and watch them in order. But they will blow your mind. I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, so good. And it's so thorough and well done, and the feeling, the intent is there, the correct intent, the correct energy going in, the caring about not only the people living in whatever the house is or whatever it may be, the building, but the dead. And I think it's wonderful, and it's just so important.
Yes.
It's the way paranormal investigating should be done. I love that there's people that are on different journeys and they bring all those wisdoms with them. I love, love, love. It's one thing about this channel. People say, like, if on another channel talking about a different subject or whatever, and they say, "What do you mean you're doing paranormal? Oh, you do all that devil stuff." No, 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 honey, you don't understand. Spiritual warfare, yin and yang.
Mhm.
You better know your enemy, and you better
Yeah.
know people that know how to handle energy, and you better know people that know how to handle the dark stuff,
Yes, because
because
this is
this
so real.
is not a game. It's not a game. This is real life, and we're all here for a reason. And this beautiful soul right here, thank you for being my guest tonight, sweetie, and on Easter, and taking from your holiday and everything else. So I appreciate it so much. But this was such an important thing to get out. Just a couple of messages from spirit. I wanted you guys to know that Michelle's going through it. I'm going through it. A lot of people here in this chat are going through it. So many life-changing situations and everything else. And it seems like in every direction you look at, that's what's happening to people right now. And sometimes you feel like that cog in the wheel. Not that you're saying you're important. What I mean is you're a light worker, and people sometimes revolve around you like that, and
Yeah.
it's just, again, like you're floating in that ocean, and you've got the only thing, you've got the only ice cooler that's still floating, and you got a hold of it, and everybody's drawn to you, and they're going to pull you down. So
Yeah.
what you do is you try to talk to them, to get them to hold on for themselves, to kick themselves, to calm and breathe. It's their journey. They have to go through it. And if you're feeling that you can't go on with yours, if you're helping them, I have so many people on top of my head right now. I can think of 14 people that if I just reached out and picked up and said, "How are you doing?" It would take me 3 days to come off of that. And
Yes.
once you realize that this is what you're doing to you have to shut the door and just hang the thing outside. It says, "Gone fishing."
Yeah.
Just for a little while till you're ready to dip down again, but don't go all the way back in. Say, "I love you. I care about you. I want to know how you're doing good. You still breathing? Fantastic." Go to the next week and keep doing that, because eventually everything is going to parallel back out. Everybody is on their parallel roads right now. Some are going a little wacky,
Mhm.
but you'll see that it'll come back and you'll connect back in there again, because everybody's going through this. I want you guys to connect in with your guides. Signs from spirit are coming hot and heavy. A lot of people in here, Brian's been saying he's been getting lots of numbers. He gets them anyway. All of that. A lot of it's not just numbers, it's butterflies, it's cardinals, it's phone calls, it's names on license plates, it's billboards, it's commercials, it's songs on the radio, so many things. So tonight, reach out, ask for help in the path that you're on right now. If it seems too much to plan for the week, plan for the day, plan for the hour, ask for the next step. just the next step if that's what you need to ask for. Tonight, ask for your guides to come through and tell you what you need to hear that will help you in your near future, and start there. Your loved ones are fine. You're going to be fine, even if it hurts a little. You're going to be fine. We're going to get through this together.
Yeah.
Michelle, in closing, what do you want to say? Was there anything else the spirit said that you think is important for them to get out for
Yeah.
the upcoming week? Please let us know
Yeah.
before we go.
Yes. There's a lot. That was just the beginning.
Okay.
I'll try to condense it down as fast as I
Sure,
can.
baby. Go right ahead.
Okay, so remember, you had one eye open, so that's saying you're not seeing something clearly. So you've got divine protection around you. And you are coming through as some kind of an authoritative role, but there's something you're not going to be seeing clearly over the next 30 days. So this could be very important. The right hand itself means that that you need to focus. Just what Sysco was saying, you need to focus on movement forward. That's the meaning of the right hand. Okay. Now, the next thing that I saw, if you'll see, is right here. So what you're going to see, you collective are a bunny rabbit that's sitting in front, and it almost looks like you're praying. Okay. But within your hand as well, you're holding like a little stuffed doll. Okay. And then also behind you is a rabbit that is coming up. There's a masculine rabbit right here that's coming from behind. Okay. That's kind of like walking up on you. And at the masculine bunny's feet is a fox laying there. So here's what I got symbolically. So the rabbit itself means abundance and manifesting quickly. Okay. Now you have ears. When I see ears that are up like the masculine rabbit, okay, that's telling me that there's a person or a situation, mainly a person, okay, that has their ears up. They are listening. Something concerning you, your life, something you do. They're paying attention. Now, collective, your ears were down, almost like a scolded puppy. Okay. But it also made me feel like ears down in the sense of hoping and praying for something to happen. Okay. Like feeling lack in some way, feeling like either this could be low confidence, this could be feeling like you don't have enough money, or not having enough of something, or wanting to move forward somehow and feel stuck. Okay. Now here's what I got. Okay, so
Spot on.
The rabbit ears that are up, listening and alert. Rabbit ears that are down, need of help of some way, scolded. Okay, then the stuffed animal, that can represent a job, a hobby, a side business you're attempting to start. This can, let's see, what did I write while I was in spirit? Let's see. Yeah, well, that's what I wrote. Okay.
Time to start a business, I'm telling you.
Yes, exactly. So it's like, here you are praying that this business, if that's what it is for you, that this business will go in your favor. Okay. Now, you have the sly fox that's at the feet of this masculine, and this is not gender specific, guys. Okay. But this sly fox, when I see an animal, I have to determine, is this the positive meaning or the negative meaning? And it's the negative meaning because the facial expression that I saw on the fox. Okay. So they're telling me a slick talker. So whomever this is, either, because see, you have your back turned towards this masculine energy that is walking towards you and up to you. It's almost like this masculine energy was wanting to reach around you and grab that doll. Okay. So whatever that doll would mean for you, it's like either some of you have turned your back on this person already, someone wanting to take advantage of you. This could be your time. This could be your resources. This could be trying to steal information about, a job idea, or, attempting to leech on you because someone knows that you are going to be creating something, okay, that could take off. But others of you, I feel like this is someone that you are already in connection with, and you don't see because you're not seeing clearly. You have one eye.
Yeah.
You're not seeing the situation clearly. So there's someone that, while you are like, please God, let this take off, let this work, whatever it is, let this happen. There's another person who is attached to you, or
Mm-hmm.
wanting to try to attach to your energy somehow, that wants a piece, whatever that is, of this baby doll. Okay.
Yep.
Now, the last thing that I saw, this is very important. You see that? Where's the rabbit? It's
Mm-hmm.
holding on to your leg.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see?
Yep. Yep.
Collective, you look shocked.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what the heck is going on? Right? So, what I got with this, first of all, the hair. Remember the hair, divine protection, divine connection. Make sure that you stay grounded. Make sure that you do everything you possibly can to stay cleansed, charged, recharge, and recharge. Okay.
Yep. I'm getting that big time. Yep.
Yes, stay in divine alignment. Okay. Now, both eyes were open this time. So that's telling me you're seeing the situation clearly when it happens. Okay. Then you have the mouth of shock, like, oh, okay. Then you're wearing a tank top. So spiritually, a tank top, that just means like breathability. Like you can breathe better. You're more flexible. Okay, you can move better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the belt, you can see the belt it has like a heart for the buckle.
Mm-hmm.
So a belt itself, that's symbolic for like support. Okay, and you're wearing it. You are wearing it. You have divine support. Okay.
Okay.
So always remember that. But it can also mean keeping something stuck in place. So it's kind of like you've got to be careful and make sure that you see a picture clearly here. Don't allow someone else's energy or another situation to keep you complacent. Okay.
Yep.
It's very important that you move forward. Now, because the buckle was like in a heart shape, that's spirit is telling me that it's important for you to go with your heart. What does your heart tell you to do in this situation? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be more about feelings than thinking. Okay.
Okay.
If you feel like something's off, trust that.
Trust it.
Yes. Blue jeans. So you were wearing blue jeans. Blue jeans is a symbolization of hard work and
Mm-hmm.
free. It's coming. It's
Mm-hmm.
coming. You have to trust.
Mm-hmm.
But you have that masculine bunny rabbit. Now this person's ears are down and floppy.
Mm-hmm.
Now
You bet they are.
yes. Now this
You
person
bet they are.
is not confident. Now this
Uh-huh.
person is scared of losing security. Remember the baby doll, that's also a symbol of security.
Yep.
So here you are holding it at first, praying, please give me security, whatever this is for you. Now you get that security, you get that divine connection, you can be more flexible, you can breathe with that tank top, right? And you've had to put in a whole lot of hard work because of the blue jeans, right? And you have that divine support with that belt.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden you see things clearly. And now whomever this masculine rabbit was in the beginning, now they've lost their security because you will see
Mm-hmm.
the situation, the truth about what it is. This person try their best to leech onto you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I got you. I got you. Clear, loud and clear, baby. You spot on.
That's
Spot
what
on. Everything you said. Everything you said, including getting to the point at the end there where now the ears are down and stay focused. We're all in this. This reading is for everybody that is a light worker. This goes out to everybody. And that's one thing you have to remember about a reading. Everybody in the room is getting information. Everybody in the room is getting information. So back away from it and look at it. And does that fit your situation? Are you feeling like Others are hanging on to you where you're trying to move forward, you're dragging. This whole show has been about quicksand, being in the ocean, trying to help others from drowning, getting drowned yourself, taking on water, having to let go, having to keep kicking forward, keeping your eye on that landmass that you're trying to head for, and your security, and driving through the storm. You've got to keep moving forward. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful reading for everybody to keep hanging on to that dream. Talk to your spirit guides, get this help. The help is there. The help is there. Just because you're a light worker doesn't mean you have to take on everybody's everything, and that doesn't mean that you feel this way, or that it shouldn't even be that. You shouldn't even be thinking that at this point. If people are used to, if you're that person in the family where everybody is, calling you to tell you what the other one did or something, just break that chain. That's what we said in the beginning too. This is a time of breaking those eternal circles that have been going through our bloodline. It's a time to break loose of all of that and move forward to the next level, and take those downloads and take that dream. You want to open that dress shop, you want to start that cupcake business, you want to build birdhouses in your garage and sell them at the county fair. You do whatever it is that you want to do. I'd say do more than one. I'd say do them all with gusto. And I that is one thing that light workers can do, because one, we're easily bored. We lose interest quickly, uh and we're very creative, and we like to do a lot of things all at once.
Yes.
It's okay to be that way. It's just, you go from one thing to the next, go with the flow.
Mhm.
Don't fight it and make yourself, I'm going to finish this before I start this. At this point, I don't think light workers can do that. I think we have to
No,
do all the things all at once
we do.
and just keep going. Yeah, because if one fails, you got the next thing, and that builds your confidence as well. It's
Yes.
like, well, that wasn't as fun as I thought, but I'm still making this. You
Yes.
know, I
Yes.
thought I was going to make chocolate cupcakes, but I'm making blueberry muffins, and I'm enjoying that better. It got me to the blueberry muffins. Do you understand? Things
Yes.
may not always be exactly like you colored them in, but you'll look at the picture and you'll go, you know what? This is a better picture. And that's what we do with our lives. We make everything the way we think it's supposed to be. And if we just let it, we find we're in that spot, and that way we are conserving our energy to fight the battles we have to fight, and we're not fighting every single inch we're going through. And that's
Yes.
what I'm trying to do now, and not fight through every inch of it, and just let it flow a little bit. Michelle, you're probably going through the same thing, and you look beautiful. You
Oh,
look wonderful. You look so much freer. Your energy looks freer.
I am so
It
free.
shows.
Never been
It's
this free
wonderful.
in my life.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much for spending this evening with me. I love your your information, your insight, your wonderful talents, and everybody needs to get over there and get on her YouTube channel and watch. Listen, start getting into the astrology, things like that. I want to present more tools to everybody. That one tool might not be for everybody, but if you have these little things, whether it's an animal communication with somebody that you've lost on the other side, it just wants to tell you that they're okay, whether it's grandma, you need to know that she made it all right, whatever it may be, something small just to give you the energy to get through your next day. I hope you found some of it here tonight. You're going to find some of it over here on Michelle's channel. And thank you so much, darling, for coming tonight. And, is there anything you want to leave us with? Any kind of thoughts or anything?
Yes, first I would like to say, Cisco, thank you so much. I always love coming on here with you. I'm so truly grateful always. And I would just like to tell everyone thank you so much for coming on and listening and being a part of this show.
Yes.
That's just beautiful that we can all come together as a community. It's just, and
It's beautiful.
it is. It's
You know,
absolutely
we've
beautiful.
got people watching YouTube, we've got them on Facebook, we've got them over here on Rumble. And again, that's what I try to provide. It's not, quantity. You look at somebody and they've got like 5,000 people watching all at once. The energy would be so overwhelming for us. we it's so funny when you find channels where we're just happy to have whoever the spirits brought to us, because
Yes.
it's such a different show, it's such a different energy. You leave
Oh,
feeling fulfilled and not drained, you
yeah.
know. I mean, I'm going to be flying high for the next couple of hours just on the energy, the good energy, and I hope you guys got that tonight. Some of our candle lights gotten a little dim. Some people are worried about things that are going on right now. Listen, the whole world is going through a growth and a change and a consciousness change, and people are getting more spiritual and they're reaching out more toward love and light and everything else. And that's our call, folks. That's what we're here to do. They're going to be drawn to that light, and we can't be standing there holding our candles going, get off my lawn.
No.
We can't get there. We can't be those grumbly Mick, we all feel like it, it's just we've gotten to that point where we've gotten through this like long years of battle, and we're just battle weary, and we're just like, with we've had it, and it's okay. It's okay to feel that way. That's kind of where you're supposed to be at this time, but don't forget to rejuvenate the light, because eventually you're going to have to come out of that, and you're going to have kids on your lawn, and you're not supposed to get upset about it. You're supposed to enjoy the laughter.
Yeah.
We need to get back to that. So I love you, baby. We're going to dance our way out of here. My love to Steph when you talk to her. Thanks to everybody that has been in this chat tonight. Thank you for everybody that's participated, asked questions, or put your thoughts up. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the mods. Get over to Rumble. You're going to miss Lost Boys. We're going to have fun. Please bring your your faux vampire teeth if you want. I don't care. Wear your cape while you watch. We'll have a ball. And tomorrow night, we're going to talk a little bit more about unraveling the murder of a president. So I'm talking about JFK tomorrow night. Hopefully, Steve will be able to pop in with us. Thank you, sweetheart. I love you. Kick off your shoes. Let's dance those blues away. I love you. Good night, sweetheart. Have a wonderful evening. Happy Easter, everybody. Good night. Love you, sweetheart. Good night, darling. Thank you. Big heart.